speaking of shaking things up, right? It seems like Rod Brendamore's been doing a lot of that, right? Remember Rantanen somehow for one game was skating with Roslovic as his center. They're going 12-6, 12 forward, 6 defensemen, then 11-7. They're mixing this up. They're mixing that up. Jon Scheyer should take a page out of that book. Jon Scheyer has a free pass to get weird with his rotations for a few games. And partially he has that free pass because they've been consistent. We know that Duke, as a basketball team, is really good with the rotation that we've grown very comfortable watching, right? When you have Proctor and Cooper Flagg and Con Knipple and Common Malawash and Malik Brown, and when you're at full and that's your main guys, and you mix in flamethrower Isaiah Evans off the bench, and you mix in shooter Mason Gillis off the bench, and you have these roles set. We know they're really good. They're like national championship contender level good. If things break their way a few times, you know every national champion needs a little luck. They could easily hoist the trophy. But right now, Malik Brown's hurt, right? He had the shoulder dislocation, and Tyrese Proctor is hurt. He had the knee bone contusion, bone bruise, whatever you call it. They're going to be out of action for a little bit. Both are expected back for the most important games of the season, later in the tournament, maybe later conference tournament, but NCAA tournament for sure. So with them being out of action for a little bit, get weird. And if it doesn't work, no harm, no foul, right? Go back to the old rotations when those guys get healthy. So think about it, right? You want Cooper Flagg playing point guard? You want him, or point forward? You want him initiating the offense, being a 6'9" guy with handles that can maybe ball handle on a pick and roll more often? If you want it, sure, try it. Why not? Against Florida State tomorrow, you want Con Knipple playing the 4? Right, he's a 6'7" wide-bodied kid. If you want him playing the power forward position next to Common Malawash, or even weirder, you want Cooper Flagg at the 5 and Common Malawash at the 4, go for it. You want to see Isaiah Evans, that flamethrower off the bench, get an extended run, or maybe even do something crazy like see if, even though they call him slim, if he can play bigger than his body weight and guard in the post. Could be entertaining for all of us. Give it a shot. Why not, right? Because you always have the fallback on, we know this works. And while this is unavailable due to injury, let's get crazy. Worst case, you go back to what you know works. Best case scenario, you develop some sweet off-speed pitches, right? You develop some real, let's throw them a curveball coming out of a timeout move.
Like going random 2-3 zone.
Which they've
done that.
Yeah.
Which they've done.
Surprised to even some players that were on the court when they did it.
Like, you want us to do what? Zone?
You're aware, right? 2-3. You played it when you were 8. Get on out there. Like, literally. Imagine if you learn that you have this, like, really unique, really interesting, super small ball 5. Right? Everybody can shoot. Everybody can dribble. You're the tallest team in the country, essentially. And imagine if you have the quirky small ball 5. So everybody that's preparing for you is prepared for these giants, right? The 7'2" Malawash, 6'9" Flagg, all of these just giants. And then, I don't know, there's a dead ball with like 20 seconds before a media timeout, and you just roll out a whole bunch of guards, and you have Isaiah Evans guarding in the post, and it's just a weird changeup. With the added safety net of knowing if it doesn't work out, you don't have to force anything. Because you can always go back to the basketball team we've seen develop alongside each other, get better throughout the year. It's like a weird silver lining. Right? I actually think sometimes coaches, they would never admit this, but like the true X's and O's guys, the true basketball nerds, hockey nerds, football nerds of coaches, the ones that have notebooks on top of notebooks of potential plays, I think they get their juices flowing a little bit when some guys are unavailable, especially if it's not the super serious injuries. They're just like, oh, I got to make it work. All right, let's see what I can do. Right? They start doing like the licking of their thumb when they're flicking through the playbook. Real excited stuff. From an actual gameplay, like a specific gameplay deal, Duke versus Florida State. Florida State is one of the few teams in the country that can go height for height with Duke. Right? They're tall.
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken, they're both top 5 in the country as far as average height.
Mm-hmm.
Still, Duke is the more talented team, even without Proctor and Brown, and they should still win. But they do kind of lose that little crutch that they can fall on occasionally of just, hey, we're bigger than you, which they can against just about every other school. And there probably will be someone in the NCAA tournament run, maybe that doesn't have the height that you do at the guard position, but there'll be someone with 2 7-footers they trust, or there'll be someone with, a small forward that's 6'9" and lanky. Like, it's good to get that experience, and you can't always get it just because, if every team in college basketball had enough people 6'10" and above, they just don't exist on planet Earth.